Hollywood has a long-standing tradition of bending, ignoring, or flat-out annihilating the laws of physics in favor of spectacle. But for anyone with even a modest understanding of physics, these scenes are ludicrous to the extent they ignore or outright break the laws of the universe. While all fiction relies on a suspension of disbelief, there are some moments in movies where filmmakers stretch the truth so far that the fabric of science is completely torn apart. Here are 5 of Hollywood's most offending movie scenes that take physics and completely throw them out the window. The duel between Brienne of Tarth and Arya Stark in Game of Thrones Season 7 is a clear standout. It shatters the rules of motion, mass, and energy conservation in every frame. Brienne of Tarth, a towering 6'3" battle-hardened knight clad in heavy armor, squares off in a sparring match against Arya Stark, who is barely 5 feet tall, less than half of Brienne's weight, and has only had 3 or 4 hand-to-hand fights that we've seen, all of which she's lost. But whatever. Arya darts and flips, bouncing off Brienne's full-force strikes that would devastate Arya if she tried to parry them. It's flashy and dramatic, but physically nonsensical. Arya doesn't have the mass or leverage to deflect attacks from someone with Brienne's size and momentum without possessing some kind of physics-defying superpower. The only purpose of the scene is to show Arya as an adept sword fighter, but in doing so, it completely ignores Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. If Brienne swung her sword with full power and Arya tried to parry the blow with needle, she wouldn't have a happy smirk on her face. She probably wouldn't have a face. Another egregious Hollywood movie scene that butchers the laws of physics comes from the Fast and Furious franchise. In Fast and Furious 6, Dominic Toretto launches himself from a speeding car across a massive gapped highway on a bridge and catches Letty in mid-flight, then crash lands safely into the windshield of another car. It's the kind of stunt that breaks every conceivable rule of physics and feels as phony and ridiculous as it looks. Human bodies have mass and inertia. Dom launching himself off a moving car would send him flying in a straight trajectory, determined by his speed and the vector of his leap. Catching another human mid-air while both are flying in opposite directions would double the momentum and result in a catastrophic collision. Even if he somehow managed to reach her, which is impossible given their relative speeds and directions, the sudden impact would result in broken ribs, whiplash, or concussions, not a cushioned landing. But in all actuality, they'd probably be dead. And landing on the hood of a car? That's not a trampoline. It would crumple under the weight of 2 adults crashing down at a high velocity, and again most likely killing them both. The entire sequence is an insult to Newtonian physics, inertia, gravity, and common sense. Then there's the infamous nuclear refrigerator scene in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In one of the most mocked moments in modern cinema, Indiana Jones survives a nuclear explosion by hiding inside a lead-lined refrigerator, which is blown a few miles through the air before crashing to the ground. He then stumbles out, casually dusts himself off, and just walks away. This scene manages to defy and mock multiple laws of physics all at once. Let's ignore the fact that a nuclear detonation would incinerate nearly everything within several miles, and that the shockwave alone would flatten buildings and tear apart the human body. Why wasn't every fridge blown into the air and blasted a few miles away in the same way that his was? Or was his a magical one they forgot to tell us about? The refrigerator would have to withstand extreme heat, pressure, and radiation, but more importantly, Indy himself would be subjected to G-forces that would liquefy his organs upon impact. The human body simply cannot withstand the kind of deceleration trauma that this scene requires. Hollywood tried to dress it up as clever survival, but it ended up being one of the most ridiculous physics-defying scenes ever filmed. Next, we have Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. It's another Hollywood movie with a countless number of scenes that could easily make the cut for some of the most ridiculous physics-busting movie ideas ever put to film. We could have just as easily picked the opening scene where Bane is interrogated on a plane before orchestrating a hijacking with a second plane. resulting in one of the most ridiculous physics-insulting movie ideas ever filmed. The real offense comes later during the final sequence, when Batman flies a ticking nuclear bomb away from the city with his bat jet. Batman is seen taking the bomb out over the ocean, and a few seconds later, it explodes in the distance. Everyone assumes Batman has sacrificed himself until the final twist suggests that he survived. But if a nuclear bomb exploded just off the coast of a major city, there would be massive and dire consequences. A nuclear detonation, especially one in the megaton range, would cause a massive shockwave, electromagnetic pulse, and radioactive fallout. The blast radius would extend for miles, vaporizing everything within range. Fallout from the explosion would contaminate the city, the water, and the atmosphere. The blast radius would extend for miles, vaporizing everything within range. Fallout from the explosion would contaminate the city, the water, and the atmosphere. Sure, Batman may have survived the blast, after all he's Batman, but Gotham would be completely destroyed and contaminated with nuclear fallout. Finally, we have the 1998 disaster epic Armageddon. NASA recruits oil drillers to land on an asteroid and plant a nuclear bomb inside it to save Earth from annihilation. The plot loses all credibility by suggesting that expert drilling skills are harder to teach than launching, piloting, landing, and operating a spacecraft. But the real abuse of physics comes in the asteroid sequence itself. The asteroid is the size of Texas, traveling at tens of thousands of miles per hour, and yet the characters walk around on its surface like they're on Earth. There's no explanation of how the asteroid generates gravity strong enough for normal movement. At best, the gravitational pull would be minuscule, far less than even the moon's, making walking impossible and drilling tools nearly useless. Then there's the core premise, that a nuclear bomb could split the asteroid in half and send the pieces flying around the Earth. That's not how space works. The amount of energy required to split an object of that size and impart enough energy into each half to change their trajectory is beyond even the most powerful nuclear weapons ever built. The explosion would need to deliver energy targeted precisely against the asteroid's momentum vector, and even then, the broken pieces would most likely stay on a collision course. Instead, the movie gives us an ending that would have a 0% chance of being successful. In fact, it would only make the situation worse and prove that Michael Bay and the writers do not have the most basic understanding of the laws of physics and orbital mechanics. These scenes may be entertaining, emotionally charged, or even iconic, but they also serve as examples of how physics is sacrificed for the sake of narrative flair. In some cases, it's acceptable. After all, cinema is a form of escapism. But when the basic laws of physics are bent so far that they snap and lose all sense of reality, it's hard not to cringe. I'd like to thank you for watching some of the most cringe-worthy, physics-busting Hollywood movie scenes and invite you back for our next episode